How do you make a Chateaubriand the perfect holiday centerpiece? Coat it in creamy mushroom Duxelles butter and serve with a side of bacon-wrapped asparagus. It's a holiday feast, Omaha Steaks style. Let's get started. All right, so what we have here is our beautiful Omaha Steaks 3-pound Chateaubriand, one of my favorite roasts for the holidays any time of year, or just even on weekdays. It doesn't matter, it's guaranteed to be a crowd pleaser. So first things first, we take it out of the fridge once it's sufficiently thawed, and we wanna make sure to always pat our roast or any steak dry with paper towels, okay? So you wanna get all that residual moisture off of the Chateaubriand because you want that nice, delicious seared crust on there, and that crust is gonna provide flavor. So very important step, okay? That looks good. Kosher salts, which is great and beautiful. And we also have coarse cracked pepper. Seasoned very aggressively because 3 pounds is a lot of meat, so don't be shy. Kosher salt is the best, maybe a Maldon salt, but always opt for a coarse salt. Now, rule of thumb, as much kosher salt as you put on the roast, you wanna do about half in cracked black pepper. Perfectly seasoned, we patted it dry. This is ready to slather our Duxelles on it, and it's going to be so good. Now, Duxelles is a very common, very traditional way to serve with your Chateaubriand. But today we're gonna kind of remix it, simplify it, but have those same delicious, amazing flavors. So first things first, we don't wanna throw big chunks of vegetables into the pan or the food processor because you won't get that nice sear, that nice caramelization. We're just gonna do a large dice or a medium dice on the onion or shallots. Again, when I'm using garlic, I pretty much, 9 times out of 10 prefer slicing it because I find when you dice it or mince it, it can over caramelize or burn relatively easy. So you have our mushrooms here. Continue on the mushroom train until all the mushrooms are sliced. So I'm keeping it relatively light when it comes with the aromatics, so I have some thyme right here. I'm gonna get about 3 sprigs of the thyme. Again, if you like more thyme, feel free to use more. If you don't, whatever you like, make it yours. So medium-high heat in the pan we have, about 2 to 3 tablespoons, probably leaning towards 3 tablespoons because the mushrooms are gonna absorb a lot of that oil. Okay. Shallots or yellow onions, whatever preference you like. And garlic. Okay. Just what I do is just get a nice light caramelization on the onions or shallots and garlic. We're gonna add our mushrooms. A little bit of thyme in there for a nice kind of aromatic note and goes really well with this dish. If you need more oil, feel free to add so because these mushrooms are tiny sponges. That step is done right there. We want to cool that down to room temperature. Add that to our butter, blend it up in a food processor, and come back for the next step. So once we've sauteed and caramelized off all our mushrooms, our onions, our garlic, the fresh herbs, and the thyme, we want to go ahead and dump everything into our food processor. Super important to make sure you have this room temperature so it's not too hot, and room temperature butter. I cannot stress the importance of that. It's gonna make emulsifying and blending this butter a whole lot easier. So let's get to it. First things first, I like to add the vegetables in first since we actually need to kind of process and blend and puree those before we add the butter. All right, like so. Make sure the top is secure. Looking good. That's kind of the consistency we're looking for before we add our room temperature butter. The slightest pinch of salt and pepper, because we added a little bit of salt and pepper when we were sauteing and seasoning. All right, back to it. Turn that off, take our lid off. Beautiful, creamy. The pureed mushrooms, onions, and garlic and herbs is evenly distributed throughout that butter. We're going to slather that onto our duxelle, and it is going to be holiday roast perfection. We are ready to slather this butter all over this glorious roast. So I like using a spatula to get a head start with the slathering. And I just go ahead and put that on top. You want to slather and apply the duxelle butter everywhere except the bottom of the roast. So I like to do about half on the actual roast, and then I reserve the other half for those who want to add a little more, a little extra on the side. And super important to use a wire rack because a little bit of that butter is going to drip off and fall off onto the sides into the pan. So by using the sheet pan with the wire rack, it's gonna get that beautiful circulation where we're getting the top, bottom, left, and right, an even roast on the Chateaubriand. So now that we have slathered our beautiful and just savory Omaha Steak Chateaubriand, we went ahead and preheated our oven to 250. We're gonna cook that till it's 10 degrees below our desired cooking temperature. In this case, about 45 minutes. At that point, we wanna broil it for about 45 to 60 seconds to get that beautiful brown color on there. Once your Chateaubriand has rested for about 20 minutes and those wonderful juices have redistributed, slice it and serve it with a side of bacon-wrapped asparagus for an absolutely stunning meal everyone will love. Thanks for watching. For even more holiday recipes and tips, visit omahasteaks.com/blog.